Alright, so Russia apparently just came out that they're planning to launch a crypto exchange jointly operated by its central bank and finance ministry for qualified investors. I'd say that this must be the biggest news of the day. I mean, for some reason nobody's talking about it, but the fact that the Bank of Russia is coming in with this, I think is a pretty big deal. But maybe it's just being overshadowed by all the news of Trump. I mean, just a few hours ago he says, even if you don't make a deal with China, it's okay. And then a little bit before that, we had a little saying that the Chinese tariffs were going to go back down to 50 or maybe 65%. And right now, two new things are coming out. One is over the next 2 or 3 weeks, they will set tariffs for China, which is significantly greater than 2 years or so that we were firstly thinking of for a trade deal of sorts. I mean, setting the tariff, does that mean the tariff, or does that mean a new tariff while they're still negotiating trade deals? Who really knows? Well, actually, President Trump says he is not considering changes to automobile and auto part tariffs. Just 1 hour ago, FT reported that President Trump will be exempting car makers from some U.S. tariffs. Auto stocks have gone green, from green to red after the hours. Really, the market is just all over the place with regards to this. But if you're wondering what's a next major event that we're all waiting for, what's there to hear? I mean, just yesterday we had ourselves Trump's speech, right? It was interesting to say the least. But right now, apparently, we've got ourselves a new SEC meeting, or rather a new discussion. The SEC Chair Paul Atkins is set to speak at the SEC Crypto Roundtable this Friday. Well, you gotta understand, this is his first public address happening over the next 24 hours or so. And I'm not so sure if this is gonna be a very big deal or a small one, but speculation is high that his tenure could lead to significant shifts in how digital assets are regulated, potentially fostering a more innovation-friendly environment. Now that we're talking about environments, damn, XRP got rejected. And I'm thinking it was not XRP on its own, really. It was oh, my keyboard is empty, it seems like. Anyway, I was trying to say, Bitcoin over on the short term had broken out from its inverse head and shoulder, as we talked about, and actually got rejected at the 95K level. Slightly below it, actually, the highest point here was 94.7. Our target was 94.9, and that's basically the target for this inverse head and shoulder. But also, we discussed that it's very likely that Bitcoin is going to face some trouble here. So if you're looking for any new long position, to wait for a break of 95. And in this case here, there's a correction happening. We do not know how deep the correction is going to be. It could be that all it took was just a small, teeny, tiny little move right back down roughly 3% here to continue on with the move. We're not 100% sure. Here's what we were discussing yesterday, the exact chart. But all I know for a fact is that XRP right now also is back to the bottom of the trend line. But in the end, for a lot of people that are trying to follow my bot trading strategies, I know I'll keep talking about it again. This is actually a very nice thing because it gets you a lower entry. I was talking yesterday about the fact that I was going to open some slightly cheaper positions, meaning I was waiting with my Ethereum and Solana position for prices to come back down ever so slightly as we expected Bitcoin to fall. You're never 100% certain, but this was just gut feeling, not proper analysis for ETH and Solana. And I'm saying that because over a longer term, I still think we're headed towards the top. And to put in perspective here, my bots, I've still got them open. I didn't take anything out. What I could do, by the way, guys, and I'll quickly remind you of that, I could just release the profit, for example, of the bot. I could just reinvest whatever profit it has made thus far and just get a bigger investment in the bot as well. And I think if we're going to do a $1,000 to $10,000 challenge or something like that of the sort later, we might have to just keep reinvesting. But as it currently stands, I do not want to reinvest anything. I just want to let the bot do its thing because all it just needs is time. And again, if you want to join me on my journey, you can find a video here where I explain my bot setup. It's make $1 million with this strategy. You can check that video out. Or just go to the description of any of the videos. So use this first link to sign up. Then there's also a link to claim yourself some free bonuses. If you deposit like a couple $1,000s, you get a couple $100 for free. I think if you deposit $5,000, you get $800 for free. And if you want to follow the bots exactly, just check these links out right there. It's very easy, very convenient. And in my next video, I'll be announcing the giveaway winners, I think in a few hours or so. So that could also be quite cool. I mean, currently still, everybody who copied along, we've only been doing this for 2 days, but is already in pretty good profit. Just guaranteed profit was about 1% on this one, 0.2 on the other. But in unrealized, you can see 7.5 and 9%. We can take that out if you want to. I just don't want to because, again, I have a longer term vision in mind. And this might be at a loss soon, but it's okay because it's a volatility bot, meaning the more the prices move, the more money it's also going to make, but it takes time. Again, I'll be logging everything though. Just follow along with my journey if you're too afraid to get into it. All good, because not finished advice, just my trades, my idea. Now, I will also reiterate that the structure for XRP has broken. If you'll remember, again, we had ourselves this downtrend. We finally broke out of it, got ourselves a confirming candle. We were not able to get above this 225 though and got right back down. But from another angle, like you can see right here, it's really going to depend on what's going to happen over the next few hours, whether or not this structure still looks bullish or not. Meaning, we had ourselves the breakout, we had ourselves a confirming candle, a massive drop afterwards because of Bitcoin, but the new structure still stands in place. And for some reason, it's loading a bit slowly, but you can see it's basically still, as it currently stands, a bullish setup, regardless of what you want to make of it. That's currently building up, which is also why I've still got my trade in place. Again, as you can see right here, the trade is still open. If we were thinking about where a good place to buy XRP would be at, actually, as it goes right back down to roughly $2.11, which is where it went to apparently throughout the day here. $2, I didn't realize that it went all the way down to $2.11. But if you were able to get back in at $2.11, well, just looking at this chart, that could have been an amazing spot to buy at, to basically take yet another leg upwards to roughly 225 or so. And again, just getting over it is not the major hurdle. It's actually getting ourselves that confirming candle above it, right? Because again, getting there is one step, but getting over it is the more important step to get ourselves back to the $2.80 and hopefully $3.40 ranges. And again, one thing that might cause this to happen is yet another Trump tariff announcement, because it's been moving the market like crazy just every single day. But I more so think that it perhaps could have to do with these new SEC policies. XRP and the SEC's moves have always been one-to-one. So this could be something rather interesting here over the next few hours, I guess a day, because we've got about a day left or so. It could have to do with the XRP ETF, but I don't think it's going to change things that quickly. I think it will take a little bit more time before something of that sort will change the game. But hey, I'm still open to a new XRP ETF announcement. And again, for Bitcoin, if you're wondering, again, we had ourselves this inverse head and shoulder and we broke out of. Target basically got reached right now, slight pullback, but realistically speaking, it could be that this small, tiny move back down, the 3% move, was all that we needed to continue back with the gains. We've talked before about every single time that gold has a massive tear, Bitcoin goes on a run afterwards. Gold had its tear, Bitcoin can go for its run afterwards now. And similarly, maybe something crazy is going to happen to M2 still in the next few days. It's going to cause a massive price ruckus. It's hard to say. All I know is that still, cryptos make for such a better risk to reward than the stock market does. It's nice to diversify, in my opinion, a little bit into stocks and traditional assets, but generally speaking, it doesn't make sense. If you look at it from a 5-year perspective, in more like one of the better scenarios, plus 18% a year, basically, you're going to get yourself from $10,000 to $23,000, right? What or how small is the chance that if you get 2 bull markets, the one we have right now, and another one in 5 years, that you're not able to turn your 10K into more than 22,000? I keep saying it's highly unlikely you're not able to do that. You gotta try hard. And so that's why I keep stating that this, as of this point, is just one of the best ratios we've got. And even though all these TradFi announcements, they move the market still, you're basically taking some of the volatility that the traditional markets would have and add a bonus to it, a bonus multiplier that usually works out in our favor. I will say it again though, guys, if you've not signed up to Payonix yet and you're not following along with my bots yet, that's fine. But I highly recommend you to do so, at least by checking it out. A link will be down below. And as I said, the more you deposit, the more in terms of bonuses that you can also get. It might ask you to verify your ID or whatever like that. Guys, you could just put a random country. You could just use a VPN. You don't have to put the country you're actually in. You could just use, for example, Belgium, and your name is freaking iPhone Daddy. Pick a freaking name. And you can just trade and deposit freely. It's as simple as that. If you really don't want anything KYC related, you don't even want to put in a fake name, whatever, right? So I can't encourage that. You can just use WeX. You can use it from America, any country in the world. Just works fine. Link is down below to it. I use it myself. Never asked for KYC, never did anything. And there's also a nice little deposit bonus right now as well, where you get upwards of $100 or so for just linking a phone and email. So just check it out. As I said, link is down below. And man, most likely over the next few hours, we'll just get more and more. Because it's kind of funny, right? On the 1 hour, we get just Trump just going nuts with all these different announcements. And then like 10 hours later, because obviously they're at the other side of the world, we just get China bombarding us with all these new announcements. China Commerce Ministry. There have not been economic and trade negotiations between China and the US. Like, what is that statement? And then afterwards, any content about China-US economic and trade negotiations is groundless and has no factual basis. How is Trump saying every single time that things are doing really, really well when apparently there's not even discussions going on? Like, what is going on? Which is why I keep saying, expect some volatility, expect some things to get crazy here. But more importantly, guys, over the next 24 hours, take watch for whatever this new SEC meeting is going to have. They're always interesting because if they say something diabolical, it can instantly dump every single crypto by just 20-30%. It could happen. And on the opposite side, also over the next few hours or so, just take a look at XRP, see if it bounces from these lows at 211, something along those lines. And perhaps Bitcoin can make its resurgence, as again, a 3% pullback here in the midst is still pretty juicy. But again, if we're looking for long positions, at this point, it is wiser to scale in than, of course, near that top. Then again, I got cut off there. I was going to say it's wiser to scale in as you go lower, obviously, than starting at that top. For the bot strategy, anywhere to start right now is still just perfectly fine. In terms of where the most certain points are, it's either once we get a confirming candle above 95 to showcase the bull is back really. And if we want to be safe, obviously it comes all the way back down to the 80s, etc. But the fact that we already pumped like 10K or so in just a few days here is making me think, yeah, perhaps your juiciest of entries are just over right now, and we just have to accept that we're going to get a second tier one. If we want to be extremely safe, this is still way too high to get into a new position because it's just 3% down or so from the peak spot. Then again, in comparison to the sentiment we've had yesterday, or if you just put that in relatively, then right now it's still a pretty juicy entry at 91 instead of almost 95, or perhaps 92. For Bitcoin, which still relatively is quite cheap. Also, a strategy a lot of people are going for right now is to long most altcoins as the season seems to be here, and then shorting Bitcoin in the midst as a hedge, just for the meantime, basically, to make money on Bitcoin as prices start to go down lower, but exponentially make way more money in altcoins if prices start to go up. So you understand that? So kind of small positions with higher leverage on alts. Small position with lower leverage on alts, and a pretty high leverage short on Bitcoin as a hedge. This could work because right now we're in neutral territory, but generally speaking, altcoins heavily outperform Bitcoin in going up, but then just mitigate some of the risk. Anyway, that's a different strategy you could go for, but that's besides the point for today. All right, so those are the main points I'm watching. I'll be getting you guys, again, another update in just a few hours because things are getting interesting, and I got to get ready for my giveaway. Could be cool. And yeah, hopefully that's it for right now. I hope nothing else needs to be covered. I think that was it. See you guys again in another crypto video somewhere later.